Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Julie Kenny, and on this channel we talk all things self improvement. And part of that is working towards being the best version of ourselves. But as I shared on my previous week's session, it's not always a smooth path, and sometimes things happen that we struggle to deal with, that we struggle to overcome. And so today's session is really about what we can use when we are struggling, what helps us get through that, because that's really what it's about. It's not being perfect in the moment, it's being willing to accept who we are and trying to work with what we've got. So, the one that I'm going to talk about today is laughter. So, laughter is often said to be the best medicine. But it doesn't always cure what's wrong with us, but it can help us in the moment. And so it's how do we balance incredible sadness with moments of joy when we're struggling to get through our day? Can we provide ourselves with moments where we are allowed to feel happy in the midst of sadness? Part of that is also being comfortable with being sad, with being unhappy, with being angry. What we feel is what we feel, and that is okay. No one needs to rush us through that process. Last week, actually a couple of months ago now, I had a really bad day and I spent the afternoon crying. I was absolutely miserable. And I didn't try to hide that. I accepted the fact that things had gone wrong in my life and I was allowed to be miserable. And so that was fine. The Friday night, well, I was allowed to be unhappy. However, from then on, it was a matter of being allowed to be unhappy, but at the same time, still moving forwards. What we don't want is for the emotions to trap us into a moment of being frozen where we can't move forwards. Because really, whether it's anger, sadness, they're there to push us, to make us do more. And so, one of the things that I try to remember is that it is what it is in the moment, but we can always keep moving forwards. So, my go to when I'm feeling sad, when I'm feeling miserable, is to watch Taskmaster. There's several different versions of it and it's available on YouTube. Now, what's happened is I've been doing this since actually the pandemic started. Came across it, found it hilarious, and have been doing it since then, watching it. Now, it generally drops new episodes on a Saturday morning, my Saturday morning, which means that I get up, I can take my morning slowly, and around about 10 or 10:30 I'll put it on and I'll watch it. And what happens is that it always makes me laugh without fail. And it makes me laugh so much, like out loud, chortling, that my husband or my son will often hear me I'll be sitting in my room watching this, and they'll hear me from the lounge room or whatever, and they'll come and sit and watch it with me. And this particular day was the day after the miserable day, and the three of us actually needed it. And so, what I quite often do is I'll be on my laptop editing my book or doing something. I didn't. I put the laptop aside and I just said, I'm going to focus on this and I'm going to give myself this opportunity to feel better. And so then my husband sat down with me and my son sat down with me, and the three of us sat on my bed, and we just watched it and we laughed. And part of that was that we all felt better because we had a connection. We all were able to join in that laughter. Now, here's the thing, laughing didn't make the problem go away. It didn't make me feel, it did shift my natural level back to closer to happy, but I was still sad. It didn't get rid of any of that. But it wasn't meant to. It was just to give me an opportunity in the midst of where I was feeling to feel a bit better. And this is the thing that we have to remember about emotions, is that they never really last long. Our brains, our lives, so much is happening that we can have moments of sadness, anger, surprise, disgust, and they can flit in and out in a moment. And so it's about just being open to that. It's about knowing, well, I feel really sad right now, but I could go and laugh. And allowing laughter into our lives when we are feeling very sad actually tells us that we are safe. It tells us that we are in a zone, and it helps us to de stress. It helps us to reduce or to flush away some of those stress hormones that maybe have been generated by the situation that we're in. Now, the other thing is giving ourselves permission to feel all the emotions that we are being washed with, because there doesn't need to be shame about the fact that you're feeling unhappy. There doesn't need to be shame when you're angry. And it's a secondary emotion. It's allowing that emotion to take its time, to have its moment. And rather than stuffing it down and making yourself feel happy or ignoring it or trying to sort of discount it, allow yourself the space and the kindness to feel the emotion that you're feeling. So, one of the things that I do a lot of is I look at the habits that I have in my life and I try to ensure that the ones that benefit me are given space to flourish, and the ones that I don't feel help me in the moment or where I'm at, I try to create systems that allow me to maybe not rely on them so much. So, my Taskmaster habit is a habit. I know that in my life it's nice to have things that bring me joy, that bring me happiness. And this Saturday morning routine is part of it. It's about taking a moment where I don't have to get out of bed with an alarm. It's about taking a moment to just watch something that I enjoy with no guilt associated with it, to just give myself some time off. And the fact that I can start my weekend with such a belly laugh, with such entertainment, is a good thing. It means that I'm starting the weekend off positively. And so, this is the thing that laughter, like everything, tears, it's a tool. It allows us to work through the emotion that we're feeling. And laughter signals to ourselves and to those around us that things are okay. And so this is the thing that I'd like to take away from today's talk, is that we can only really recover or heal from things when we let ourselves feel it. We don't want to medicate it in some ways. We want to be able to sit with anger, with pain, with sadness, and let ourselves experience it and then accept it and move on. So we don't want to get stuck in the accept, like we don't want to get stuck in just the feeling where it's completely repeated and repeated and repeated. But what we don't want to do is hide from it, because the sooner we accept it, then acknowledge what needs to be done, the sooner we can start to move through it. So, with that, I'm going to end today's session. I would love it if you could share in the comments something that makes you laugh when you're feeling sad, what impact laughter has on you, and whether or not you have a new appreciation of being able to sit with whatever emotion that you have. So, with that, thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to our next talk. Cheers.